Hi, and welcome to Latina Nomad. Today on Latina Nomad, we have branding strategist George Torres. But before we go into introducing him, while he goes posting this onto his social media platforms, we're going to recap yesterday. We got to speak to Claudia Espinosa from the Love Mentoring Program, an amazing program focused on empowering young Latinas. And she had some amazing tips in terms of expanding your cultural awareness, really pursuing your passion, and planning it all out. But you could catch her YouTube video on our Latina Nomad platform. We'll be sharing it with everyone. And on that note,
hi.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm here. Thank you for joining me here at my house. Esta es mi casa, el bohío, acá de tu pueblo, la casita de Capicú.
Yeah, so you have so many amazing things happening. So we're gonna first backtrack a little bit. And as we said, this is all about goal setting. So we want to talk about when you started this 20 years ago. Before we go any further, did you actually set goals? And how did that look? Or were you just like, let me do something shooting at the hip? How did that look?
So the website was really natural and organic. It was my personal poetry page. It really wasn't meant for much more than me kind of creating like an online diary of my college experience and I guess awakening, my cultural awakening.
And what's that website?
The website is Sofrito for Your Soul. It's about to hit its 20th year in May of 2017. So it's the first Latino website of its kind, one of very few that still exist from that time era. There's only 2 or 3 other websites that are from that same time frame. The internet was only like 4 or 5 years old at the time, so it was a pretty innovative thing at the time, way before its time, and now we have thousands and thousands of content creators doing different things on a regular basis.
I'm like getting signals over here.
Fix that. But yeah, so that was it. So it quickly became something where people who admired my poetry were now sharing poetry with me and wanted me to put it on the site to see if people reacted the same way.
So it started more of like a cultural platform?
No, it wasn't even that. It was literally my online. It was my diary with the world.
Okay.
Like, this is what I'm going through. I started college as a 25-year-old divorced single dad. My kids were living with me on campus part-time on the low. Sorority girls were helping me raise my kids, like literally doing homework and stuff with them. And I was just going through a lot of like cultural, awakening, so to speak. And I wanted to share that story, so I kind of like started journaling, literally online for people to see it on a platform called GeoCities. And it got very popular very quickly, and before you know it, I was posting like open mics for different colleges in the area, and it just kind of like really got out of control. But it was very organic; it happened naturally.
Awesome. So then from there, is that when you started doing the open mics to these different areas?
No, not even. It took a couple of years. During the time that I actually started the site, I would say. So a lot of people don't know this, but the genesis of social media that legacy belongs to Latinos. It's not really known out there. It's not something that's been documented thoroughly. But the first major Latino social media network, the first major social media network was Latino. So it was mijente.com. So mijente predates MySpace by 5 years, or any of the other platforms that like Friendster or any of those. So the mijente phenomenon was crazy because in a time when none of us had computers unless you were in college or you worked in an office, we had 3.5 million Latinos online on mijente. Then the Black Planet and the Asian Avenue thing, did the same thing for African Americans and Asian people. So people of color were actually, I wouldn't even say Latinos, people of color were really the pioneers of social media in the United States anyway.
That's interesting. I didn't know the little tip though.
Yeah. So that's and in a lot of websites, I can go down the line. Like before YouTube, there was Latin Flavor.
Okay.
Dozens. There's a bunch of websites that wanted to do something that eventually became a thing. Before.
So let's take you back with your stuff. So now you've taken that and made so much more, but you've really diversified the platform. So let's just fill people in a bit on what it is that you have going on, because One of the things, now that I've gotten to know you better, we've been connected for years, but didn't really connect. We have so many amazing friends in common.
We just became friends about a year ago.
And finally became real friends versus just social media friends about a year ago. And it's been amazing. And one of the reasons I wanted to interview you is because you are inspirational and you have so many great things going on that empower businesses and individuals. But it's something that's not really spoken about with you. There's only certain parts of you that people know. They know about, you know, the open mic with the poetry. You do this great thing every year for Christmas for the children in Brooklyn. And then, you know, people know about your social media stuff. But there's a lot more that you do that people aren't aware of how diversified your platform is. So let's just give people a bit of an insight as to what it is that you actually do and how that opens up to all this stuff, and you know how those goals. Did you have a goal setting plan first of all when you started this?
When I started the company, yes.
And what was your goal setting process before we go into describing
to help small businesses get access to digital platforms so that they could actually promote what they do.
And what was your process? Did you break this down? Did you have vision boards? Like what was
so
that like?
I'm really heavy, and I can't show you because my workspace is crazy right now. But I have like the whiteboard clings on the wall, and I like map everything out. So
so yours is a mapping process.
It's a mapping process. It's called mapping process. I start off with what I want the outcome to be, and I kind of work backwards. So I work. It's advice that I got from my acting coach, Victor Cruz. And when we tell stories, you kind of want to talk about the end. You want to know how the characters end up, and then kind of write the story backwards. So I've done that consistently through my life. It's like, what do I want the outcome to be, and what do I need to do to get there? So I work backwards in that way, but it's been very useful.
Oh, perfect. So now let's go into how you set these goals forward and what it looks like now from starting this online blog and then diversifying your products and services.
So the blog, you know, obviously it was one thing, and you know, it became a natural phenomenon. It was always a labor of love. So I didn't want to monetize the blog per se, even though I tried doing advertising and click for links and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really want to do that. What I ended up doing instead was people who had businesses that saw the website and liked the website started approaching me for advice on how they can get online, because that was the .com era where everybody had to get a website. You know, that's the big thing. The way social media is now, that was the .com time. Everybody had to have a .com. So I was helping people with, you know, so I started monetizing by creating websites, creating collateral, and for me it was always like, let's create a brand image that is equal across the board. So when I walk into your location, if it's a shop, if it's a coffee shop, if I walk in the coffee shop or I see your business card, I see the website, I get the same feeling from all the collateral that has to do with your brand. It tells a story. And that's the kind of like, that was our niche. Our niche was making sure that everything matched, that, you know, that you had a well thought out strategy on how you were going to take people that went online and convert them into customers.
Okay, awesome. So what does that look like now? Because you have workshops, right? You do speaking engagements. And that's something I wasn't aware of until we started speaking about that. So
my audience is very segmented, to your previous point. I have people that are in the arts community that I've helped, and I've done a lot of work around that space, you know, trying to get artists to be brands within themselves. I've worked with small businesses. I've done stuff for bigger companies in terms of writing strategy specific to U.S. Hispanics. So I created a company, not a website, another website. I created a company called Sofrito Media Group to kind of encompass everything that I do. So basically what I do is monetize my brain, like literally, like how I think and how I conceptualize projects. So I do everything from workshops and seminars for small companies and individual solopreneurs to doing like training sessions for PR companies as far as strategy is concerned. I conceive events that are original for brands. So for example, if we're going like for my event, the 20th anniversary, I would put together like what the space would look like and what the theme would be. If we would have like domino tables and everybody's gonna wear guayaberas, I would actually conceive the whole look of that event. And I do a lot of that stuff around Hollywood films, actually. I do a lot of the screenings and the influencer events for Universal Pictures and Lionsgate, Weinstein Company, and a couple of companies like that. So we're just like a multi-service agency, and it's basically like, what do you want to accomplish? And we use our talent to put it together, you know. So it's very Ghost Whisperer in the sense of like, it's not a strict
branding whisperer.
but it's kind of something like, it's not really written in stone. Like, you're not gonna come in and get a burger with lettuce and tomatoes, and it's not linear like that.
It's very customized, right?
It's very customized.
Every customer's needs diversified so much.
And the model closely follows. I used to work for Kinko's when I was an undergrad, and it closely follows the model of Kinko's, where you can come into this copy shop and create anything you want to do. So that's kind of like the way we model the business.
Awesome.
Since it was born there, it only makes sense that we would emulate a lot of the stuff that I learned at Kinko's as a.
And it's all about branding and anything that revolves around it, whether it's events or
it's
social
about,
media.
At the end of the day, I help these small businesses really tap into their authentic voice and capitalize on relationship building. Really, at the end of the day, it's not really sales. It's really telling your brand story and letting people kind of make the decision.
And what about for individuals?
For individuals, it's really making them competitive more than anything. I mean, you know, the internet has really equalized the playing field for a lot of people. You know, so whereas if you were in, you know, a small town in Texas, for example, you normally wouldn't have access to a lot of stuff that we have here in New York. But with the internet, you know, with the different tools that we have now, you could be that small shop in Texas and make it a wonderful living, being a coupon blogger, for example, and work with brands and travel to different parts of the country for conferences and be just as competitive as somebody who's in New York that's in the thick of everything.
Awesome. So we're going to take a little history thing here, because you've been doing this, you said, for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
And you were actually working on the side, working full time doing this on the side, right? So, and then you finally took the leap.
I took the
So
leap.
what was that process like? Because that's a major goal to set, right? That you're going to stop and take that leap. Yeah. What was that thought process like, and that goal process like?
So that's the biggest. That was the biggest goal process think map that I have ever created. So the thing with me was that I have 4 children total from 2 different marriages, and my youngest 2 were in private school at the time. And I really wanted to kind of like make sure that they were set, they were in college and whatnot. And me and my wife talked about it, and we said, you know, this is what we want to do, and after this point we'll travel and we'll do whatever. So I basically kept the grind. So I worked for T-Mobile as a senior manager in Long Island, New York, for 10 years, pretty much, in Queens and Long Island. And I did this as a side hustle, but the side hustle was very lucrative, enough to create almost a second income for me to take care of all the needs that we had to pay the house
off.
Like, exactly. So it was just like, okay, so I'm making this much here, and a T-Mobile job was a 6-figure salary, and then I was just making about half of that side hustling, and I was just like, well, if I had all my time and it was just me and my passion, what would it be? And that's kind of the thought process that went into it. But I had to wait till the kids finished college. So the kids graduated college last May. I left shortly before, like I waited for them to get all their financial aid packaging and all that kind of stuff. Like all that stuff was done, and they were pretty much packaged and ready to go. And then that's when I decided to go full time. So on my 10th anniversary is when I left T-Mobile.
Oh wow! So
till almost to the day.
So for you, part of your thought process and your goal setting, it includes family.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was key to making the decision.
The prospect, and I really appreciate you because you're the Latina Nomad and I'm the Latino Nomad, kind of, so to speak. But for me, it was just like I wanted to create a life where I could visit family. My family is mostly in Florida and in Puerto Rico, and I wanted to create a life where I could visit them and not be restricted. For so many years, we've had people pass away in the family that I didn't get a chance to see before they left. You know, missing kids' functions and things that they were doing, the plays and shows and stuff like that, and I just wanted freedom from that. I wanted to make sure that by the time I became an abuelo, that I would have the flexibility of doing whatever I can for my grandchildren, that I could be there for my other members of my family, my cousins, my nieces and nephews, and you know, so I just wanted that freedom. You know, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to pick up and go anywhere at any time without having to worry about being tied down. So the house is sold. I live in Brooklyn now. I have an apartment here, 1 year lease at a time, and you know, I plan to be traveling a lot over the next couple of years. So I could end up living abroad very easily.
I know.
Especially now that I got virtual classes. So virtual classes are a big key in that planning process, and the goal setting for me is for me to be able to be, I don't want to be like I want to be geo-agnostic. I want to be able to be anywhere in the world and still be able to carry on my mission.
Awesome. So talk to me about, you know, that was a major leap, right? To be able, because first of all, you have that, when you have that full-time career, it's like that dependable paycheck and the routine of life, right? Because once you become a full-time entrepreneur, like that routine's gone, right? You become the jack of all trades, even though you have amazing people working with you. So what has been the biggest challenge for you in the transition of pursuing your goals and fulfilling everything you've established yourself for?
What the hell to do with all my time? Because when you're moonlighting, you're side hustling, you're using up a lot of time, but you're using it very efficiently because you know that you have to pick up the kid from school, or you have to make this appointment, or there's things that you have to do, so you're very organized. But when you become an entrepreneur, it's almost like the suelta. And it's an adjustment because I had all this time now, and I had enough to fill up the time, but I just didn't have the structure anymore. I think that T-Mobile kept me structured. But the problem with side hustling is that it's not sustainable. You can't really fully commit yourself to a company and build a brand with the company. We did amazing work with T-Mobile, as you can see, and then also work on what you have to do. So it was not sustainable. I literally lived like a whole Clark Kent, Superman type of existence where I would bump into people that I would see my T-Mobile live at a press conference event with a celebrity, and they would just look at me like, "Didn't you just sell me your sidekick?" Like, so it was really weird that way. That that I almost had these two separate lives in a sense. So it's not sustainable. So for me, the biggest thing is like making sure that if you're going to be goal setting and working as an entrepreneur, the first thing you have to master is time management, and you have to know what your time is, and you have to make sure that. And I say this now. This is a part of all my seminars. Self-care, making sure that you make yourself the first appointment of every single day. I wake up at 4 in the morning and I dedicate 4 to 6 in the morning to making sure that whatever I need is taken care of first before I start dealing with any clients.
And that's key, and I think that a lot of entrepreneurs lose that focus because they're so focused on their goals, like as far as the business goes, that they forget about their own physical being.
Yep.
And I'm like, if you don't have a strong core, there's no way that you're going to be able to build anything else out.
And to my previous point, when I was at T-Mobile and side hustling, after I'd done it for 16 years, it took a toll on me. I ended up in the hospital. I almost died with pneumonia. My immune system was shot.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was done. For all intents and purposes, when my family took me to the hospital the day after Christmas, the doctor said, like, go get the priest. Like, he's not going to make it through the night. And it was a 2 or 3 month ordeal. I was in the hospital for over 8 weeks. I got home and I had
that's when I was living abroad, right?
Yeah. So when I got out of that, I realized that I had stretched myself to the limit. It's funny because I learned how to do all this multitasking and everything when I pledged my fraternity, and it was so easy in college. But when it's real life and there's real bills involved and real life relationships that you have to maintain, it's a whole different. So that could really wear on your spirit. So I really made a decision that was my decision to say, okay, well, I need to do one or the other. I need to either commit myself 100% to T-Mobile and do the best job I can do for them and work my way up in the company, or I need to say goodbye to T-Mobile and then work on my life's mission, my goals.
So what does that look like? So you say you dedicate 2 hours a day to just you and your well-being. What does that look like for you? Do you have a routine, or does it vary all the time?
It varies depending on where I'm traveling to. Right now it's like calisthenics in the morning. It's a small 15-minute workout and working out throughout the day. It's eating something really early in the morning so that my metabolism can kick in. I had to lose a lot of weight because of what happened to me. So I'm down like 140 pounds now, and one of the byproducts of the hospitalization was diabetes. My diabetes, I was pre-diabetic before the situation, and after my diabetes was completely out of control. But happy to announce that as of yesterday, I'm at a 6.6 A1C, which I'm not going to explain, but it's a really good thing.
It's good thing, yeah.
It's literally, I cut it in 1/3. I was at 18 at one point, and now I'm down to almost 6. So,
right.
So really big. That's not 1/3. That's half. Okay.
Yeah. No,
I'm not good at math. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, but it's so true. Like we were saying the other day that for those that don't know, we actually put some posts about sleep deficit.
Yeah.
There's like a sleep debt that you create. And it creates issues with your body to the point that you could actually end up having seizures, which I had no idea about.
So how I deal with that, because I do like to sleep. I enjoy a good nap. That's one of the perks of entrepreneurship.
Don't be afraid to nap, guys.
So what I do now is I work from 4, I would say at home or in my office. My office is a couple blocks away. I work from 4 to about 12, 1 o'clock. I'll take a nap, and then if I don't have any events or whatever, then 3 to 4 o'clock, after that, it becomes my night shift, and that's more relationship building, going out to network events, and that becomes like a more flexible time. So it's almost like a combination of personal time, because I really enjoy what I do and I really like meeting the people I meet. It's less business, but it's more relationship building. So it's how I can keep my community ties going, and So it's a very unique thing, but I try to take a 2 or 3 hour nap in the middle of the day to kind of
people underestimate
compensate.
naps. They're huge. I love naps. But okay, so
I'm about to take a nap after this section.
So talk to me about 2016. What goals did you set for yourself, and did you accomplish them?
So the goals for this year were very lofty. The goal was to completely, like, I needed to start paying myself a salary, because obviously when you cut a 6-figure salary out of your income, that could take a toll. You know, I did some things that normal people would do, like downsize. So for example, instead of living in a house, I live in an apartment. The kids are out of school, so they're pretty much working on their own now and doing their own thing.
One major expense cut off.
Yeah, that's a major thing. And you know, and to be honest with you, the first couple of months of me, you know, not doing it, really the credit goes to my soon-to-be ex-wife, unfortunately, but my wife, because she, you know, she took that, she made sure the insurance was, you know, like her job really kind of helped with everything while I was trying to figure out what we were going to do and how I was going to increase the monetization of what I was doing previously. The hard part, the goal setting for me, is the cash flow. That's the one thing that's been very difficult. But the goals I set this year were to increase how many accounts I had that do regular work, and we did that. We grew the business by 34% year over year. So that was a big goal that you know I wanted to do. My goal was actually 22%, so we exceeded that. I exceeded that goal. The cash flow issue has gotten better. We've created some unique solutions to make sure that everything gets paid on time. And then 3 is I guess the expansion of one of my pet projects, which is not a pet project really. It's really a passion project more than anything. But it's really supporting my business partner in Capicool with his idea of creating a school of poetic arts. So that's the big thing, is like just us trying to get the relationships in place so that we could actually, in 2017, hopefully make something really significant happen in that realm.
So this year your goal was to like kind of pilot the program, right? Because you did a...
Yeah, we were piloting everything. So on the SOPA side, SOPA is the School of Poetic Arts. On the SOPA side, Rich VR and Johnny wrote a lot of the curriculum. Bapo has been working on the back end with logistics, making sure that we had the venues necessary to do some of the programs and stuff. Even when we lost the space, Rich and Johnny have completely stayed committed to it, having impromptu meetings in people's living rooms and making sure that we kept the curriculum going and we tested it. Then I started a pilot project with CUNY and NYCD to create a STEAM curriculum that we could take the same type of arts education that we were already doing, but add some elements to include tech and actually run these programs through either high school programs or college programs. So we're actually going to be piloting. We start next Wednesday, next Tuesday the 13th. We start at CUNY, Bronx Community College, and then the next one is in LaGuardia. So we're doing like 2 classes, 1 in each borough, for STEAM, for each acronym. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. The mathematics piece is really huge for me because something that I think, a lot of my work revolves around plugging in the holes of what I guess made my life so hard, like the things that I didn't have as a youth. So the mathematics piece is going to revolve around family financial literacy.
Oh, awesome.
And the key part about this financial literacy program is that it's not really tied to a bank, it's not tied to any financial institution that has other goals and initiatives. So it's going to be really about how to just bring up the topic of money to families and how we negotiate money within people, like communities of color. So the mathematics piece is a really big piece. Aside from the arts, is my second favorite piece of the curriculum. So
do you have any goals for, what are your goals for 2017?
2017, oh my God, let's start with, I'm starting a virtual class tonight with 8 entrepreneurs. It's the first time I'm doing this whole 10-week mastermind course virtually. So it's going to be amazing. So what I decided to do with this is I'm actually do all my goal setting with them. So I have a new project that I'm launching called Latino Movie Night, which is part of Sofrito for Your Soul. I partnered up with Victor Cruz on this, and I'm going to create the strategy, the social media strategy, to ramp up Latino Movie Night with the people in my class using the lessons and the curriculum that I created.
Awesome.
So they're going to actually see me. They already know what I've done. And that's kind of how I got them in the door, but I want them to see the magic in real time. So my goal setting with them is going to really happen with them over the next 10 weeks. So whatever you see happen with Latino Movie Night, know that I created that with them. All right, that's the first thing. Second thing is 2017 is the anniversary celebration for the website. I want to do something meaningful. We were in talks with Hispanicides to do something meaningful in Miami. New York, I'll have something very intimate with people who just influenced me and were part of our story the whole 20 years. And then in Puerto Rico, PR BloggerCon is happening, and I supported them this year. I want to do something over there too because that's where my inspiration came from. You know, my time in Puerto Rico was really important, and with Puerto Rico having this crisis, I want to be able to, the reason why I wanted to create a virtual class was to help some of the entrepreneurs in Puerto Rico. I have a really good friend that's starting this great project in Puerto Rico, and I want to really support her and kind of add to value to what she's doing. So that's the major two things that I have set for the beginning of the year. And then everything else, as far as my goals are concerned, are really revolving around, you know, making sure the business grows. My growth goal for next year is 38%, very aggressive. But I just learned from being in T-Mobile that you just have to put a number on it and just shoot for that big number, you know.
So how can we help you reach your goals?
Never underestimate the power of a great conversation. I'm open, I'm available to talk to anybody at any time about any opportunity. I want to make sure that the opportunity makes sense. You know, I want to make sure that you understand that I don't know everybody in the world, even though it looks like it. I really want to get to meet as many of you as possible and put us in a situation where we could all win, you know. So just be there, join the conversation, you know, let's talk about it. If I'm in your town and you see me tweet that I'm in, you know, Orlando, Florida, and you're in the neighborhood, let's have coffee. Like, you know, I'm completely open to that. If you look at my timeline, you'll see that every time I travel, I try to connect with as many people as I'm connected with on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. So I always make myself available for that.
So this is goal setting. What's one piece of advice that you would give people in terms of, you know, because the new year is coming, it's December, which is why we started doing all this, to like just equip people through everyone's stories about their lessons learned and experiences, their successes. So what's one piece of advice that you would give the audience in terms of goal setting?
I'll put it in two parts. How about that? So the first piece, I had a goal to share three things. I'm going to share three things. The first thing is show up for yourself. Okay. Show up for yourself every single time. Understand that you come first, and everything that you love is part of that. Second thing is be open to being reimbursed for your time. And what I mean by that is there's so many of us that have passions and we constantly devalue our own passions and we don't charge the rate that we require to get the work done in the right way. And that burns us out and that creates a situation where we're not financially stable. We need to be prosperous to help each other. And the number three one is just make sure you always keep the plan in front of you, whether it's on a whiteboard, whether it's a vision board, whether it's your phone or alerts, whatever it is. And if for some reason something's not working, don't give up on the goal. Just rewrite the plan. Just adjust the plan.
That's great advice.
Yeah, you have to rewrite the plan. I can tell you I've had plenty of failures. I have some really big failures this year that I'm gonna write about on Medium, that I'm gonna share. I'm gonna do a reflection piece while I'm in Florida. But I had some really major failures this year, but they all happened because I detracted from what I already knew. Like the stuff that like the stuff that I teach or whatever, like for a 3-month period, I kind of completely went opposite of what I would normally teach somebody, and it didn't work. And I gave up on the goal instead of actually writing the plan, what I know. So be true to yourself, like, you know, acknowledge the people around you, you know, use the people around you in a way that builds community, that really, like, you add value to their lives and vice versa. I mean, that's 4 things, right? Yeah. Okay. I can go on.
That's great because you actually ended up recapping, you know, because I usually recap about the conversation, but you just recapped it for us. But really important to hit on the second one about reimbursing yourself. One of the biggest issues I've discovered with freelancers is that, or people that set up their own businesses, is that you try to work with the person's budget, but you need to learn how to make sure that you're working with their need and your need at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, and that goes with what we teach, which is create your lifestyle plan, identify what your plan is, how you envision it, what you have available to make that plan happen, what you're willing to develop to make that plan happen, and how much it's going to cost you to make it happen. And then from there, it's easier to negotiate with your clients because doing your research is key, and we've spoken about that in a lot of our interviews. Research is key. If you don't know what you're worth, it's harder for you to have that conversation with your client. And instead of, if your client says, you know what, you're charging me $3,500, I only have a $2,000 budget, instead of saying, okay, I'll give it all to you for $2,000, saying, okay, no problem, I could definitely work with that budget, and start removing the stuff that makes it go to their budget.
Yeah.
And create phases and say, you know what, so we'll give you this phase and we'll break it down to second phase and the third phase, so that you're working with their budget. So this way they see that you are working with them. Yeah, that you're working with them and not the other way around, because you shouldn't devalue you because of someone else's need, because at the end of the day, we all have our own individual needs, and like he said, which was really great, you need to take care of yourself first.
Yes.
So
and I just let you know that this is like completely a replay of a conversation that we had a long time ago when I was dealing with those failures. So just know that she's a part of that conversation naturally.
And I'm glad you've really taken it and done so well with it. So your social media, and I know we've like extended time, but your social media, so you have to give people a tip on social media.
I have to give you
One tip on social media.
Be authentic. Be yourself. That's what people want to see. They don't want to see your logo. They don't want to know what you sell. They want to know what kind of value you bring to the table and how you're making the world a better place.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Huh? What do they want? Oh yeah, we took them.
Okay. If you want to follow me, I'm Urban Hibaro across all platforms. SofritoForYourSoul.com is the website, and I'm having a holiday party tomorrow. But if you hit me up on Twitter, I'll tell you all the details.
On that note, thanks again for joining us at Latina Nomad. We'll see you soon.
Well.